Hey, comic book fans, welcome back to Wednesday morning comic talk. And guys, this is your host, Mike Spider Slayer, and this is episode number 5. And once again, you're here with me right here on Comic Book Corner 2.0. Thanks for tuning in this week, guys. Sorry I missed an episode last week. It was a religious holiday for my wife, so I spent the day with my family, and that is why I was not here. But I am back this week, and after some updating with XSplit software, it seems like everything is a go, and this was the first attempt, and it seems to be working, and there wasn't that much of a delay while getting things started this time around, so I'm kind of happy about that. So, let's see. We're gonna have a good show talk in store for us today. I think it's gonna be a fun time. And the one thing I wanted to talk about was this week I celebrated Bat Week on my channel, and it was something that was kind of a spur of the moment type of thing. I was at the comic book store this week, and what happened was I was like, wow, I'm not getting that many comic books. I think I'm only getting like 6 or 7 books. I'm like, what am I going to do? And these books were not that great. So I sat there and said, you know what? It's Batman Day on Saturday. I'm like, I've been wanting to catch up on some Batman stuff. Why don't I just make Bat Week? And so what happened was I wound up buying a few trades, and I decided to say, hey, let's just do Bat Week. And if you guys did not watch my haul video, some of the Batman books that I wound up getting was Batman: The Death in the Family, Batman Hush, and I wound up getting Nightfall volumes 1 and volumes 2. And I was like, yeah, that's what I'm going to do is I'm going to do Bat Week. So it was a pretty good week to do it because a lot of the comic books this week were just absolutely atrocious. And this was one of the worst comic book weeks I have had in the entire year. And in fact, this is probably in almost the history of YouTube that I've been doing videos and podcasts and things like that. That I can remember that this was a bad comic week. It just the quality of titles are just in a low, and it just seems like we're all waiting for something. And obviously, Marvel has their new releases coming out very shortly, but they're delayed with Secret Wars, and no one really cares about the Secret War endings for the miniseries. DC, I feel that a lot of people are just not happy about right now, and and it's kind of frustrating, and we're just waiting for that next big thing, and hopefully Marvel does have that next big thing, and I'm hoping that DC kind of puts their company a little bit back together here so we can get some titles that are worth reading. If there is a title that was worth reading this particular week, I want to say that it was Grayson. If I can go out there and recommend something to you guys, if you have not read Grayson, like me, I haven't read it since issue 1 because I wasn't keen on uh, Grayson being like a spy, and but this kind of brought together the whole Bat family that we haven't seen, I guess, since pretty much the New 52 came out. I mean, the only time you really saw them was Death of the Family, and you haven't seen them at all together. And this book really felt like that Bat Family book, and they all got to work together. And Grayson went back to Gotham, and he confessed to everyone that he faked his death, and everyone had different reactions on seeing him for the first time in Lord knows how long. And it was just a really solid book, and the way it looked like Grayson didn't want anything to do anymore uh, with Spiral, and that he's working together with the Bat family to try to infiltrate them. So I thought it was a really cool book to read, and it's kind of fitting because again, this is the conclusion to my whole Bat week because we're getting ready to embark on a new week going into comic books, and that was a really good book to read. So I can definitely suggest that book to you guys for sure. Another thing I wanted to talk about. this week. And feel free, guys, to leave your questions and your comments, anything that you want to say. Um, it's just greatly appreciated. Another thing that I wanted to talk about today, before I talk about my little Batman experience with these stories, is kind of Gotham. Um, Gotham this week, or this season so far, these first two episodes, I felt was is really really solid, and I feel that it's off to a good start. Now, I don't know how you guys really feel about, I want to get some of your guys' opinions out here. And again, this show is kind of Batman themed because again, it's closing out my Batman week. And so I watched the first two episodes of Gotham, and obviously it's focused on this Joker like character by the name of Jerome. And I'm really curious on what your guys' thoughts on this series, if you've watched it this season or not. Maybe some of you have dropped off of it, but I feel that I like it so far in season two better than season one. I feel like they have a footing of where they want to go and this type of tone that they set up for the show. It reminds me, it's very campy, and it reminds me very much of kind of like almost like a Batman movie. It really has that setting. It has the characters that we kind of know. It has that feel to them, and I feel that this Joker character, this Jerome that plays as like a Joker, I think he's really in character, and I feel that the guy can play a Joker. And I really enjoy his presence, and it's really making the show right now. And I like this whole villains theme, and I like Barbara Keene, how in the direction that she's gone when it's come to her character, because in the first season she was absolutely a nobody, and now she kind of has this epiphany that she feels that she's free. And I just really enjoy the direction of this show. And again, I'm not sure if you guys are watching or if you agree with me on the opinions of this particular episode or season so far. But I like the direction. And right away in this last episode, now again, this is a spoiler if you guys haven't seen it. We find out that we get a new commissioner, and something happens to the new commissioner. And does Commissioner Gordon actually become the new commissioner so soon, which is not expected. And the other thing I like about this season is that we get to see the seeds being planted uh, with Bruce in here. You finally get to see him find out, what's in the cave. He gets to see the computers. He gets to see his weapons. He gets to see equipment, and I thought it was really awesome. And you get to see Alfred trying to protect him by destroying the primitive bat computer that's there. And he fires Alfred, and we wind up finding out that we get Alfred back, and you get introduced to Lucius Fox in the series, and you get to see those relationships really starting to build, and the seeds being planted for what Bruce is going to become into the future. So I really enjoy the story now. I think the story has really done a 360. I enjoyed the last season of Gotham, where it had the rise of the Penguin and seeing where he came from. But I really enjoy this, and I feel like this Jerome character is really making the series right now. And I think Barbara Keene playing this Harley-esque type of character, I feel that she's doing really well too. She's acting a lot better than I ever anticipated her to act as this character. And all these other villains are really cool as well. So I just feel that, in my opinion, that Gotham right now is off to a great start in the second season, much stronger in the than in the first season, in my opinion. And even though it is a type of procedural show, and it has to be because it is, a Batman story, it's not as procedural. It seems like it's a story that's continuing. Like if you watch Green Arrow, or sorry, if you watched Arrow, if you watched Flash, it's a continuous story. Whereas last season, all we dealt with was, something happened. There was your bad guy of the week, and that ended, and then there's your other bad guy of the week, and so now it seems like a continuing story. It's like you're reading a comic book, and it's a story arc. And I feel it's a really good setup. You get Harvey, who becomes a cop again after his short retirement, and I just think it's a really good show. And you're starting to see the development of the Riddler now. I thought that was really cool as well. It just he's starting to snap. He sees double sides of himself. So again, you're getting to see more of these seeds being planted of the villains of what's to come in Batman's Rogues Gallery. So much improved season. If you guys have written it off, please give it a try. I think it's definitely worth the watch. And they have season one on Netflix. You can binge season one. But in a way, you almost don't really need to watch season one to get what's kind of going on right now in season two. And then when you get around to it, just start watching season one because I really enjoy season two. So right now, I got Holger Peterson who is watching. Thank you, Mr. Peterson. He says Grayson number 12 is the best issue of this series so far. So this is a lot for the series, and maybe people will actually start picking it up again, or maybe the writers actually see that and maybe they'll put Grayson in that right direction to get people to pick up the series again. Um, Smitty609 says it is an awesome show, but don't hope they make him the Joker. The Joker's backstory should be more secret. I agree. I'm not sure where they're going with his story, because we all know that his origin is very mysterious and it needs to stay mysterious. But in all reality, we know this guy is pretty much as close to the Joker as you can possibly get, and hopefully they just keep him like this. And but I mean, everything about him is the Joker. His mannerisms, his laughter, just the way he has the police officer after a police officer gets shot, and he's moving his jaw around, making him laugh and stuff. I mean, it's the Joker all the way. And again, it's just a great show and a great introduction. So again, guys, go out there, watch it. Definitely give it another chance if you haven't. Tim Marson says, I couldn't make it past episode 2. Maybe I should keep trying Gotham. Tim, yeah, I definitely suggest it, Tim. Like I said, the first season is good. I liked it, but the tone of the show now is much better. And we talked about this on Comic Frontline Live, about Gotham, where it took them a while to get their footing of where they wanted to go. And we all agreed that it felt like the second half of the season was improved. And once you get to see the Penguin rise to the top a little bit, it's a better show. But again, start with this season. See how you like it from episode 1, watch episode 2, and then if you have time in between, try to watch that first season. I think you might enjoy it this time around. It's cool. It feels like Batman, and you can see Batman developing in the scene. So great stuff here. So thanks guys for watching. I have 4 people watching right now or listening in. Again, guys, leave your comments. Even if you catch this off live, always leave your comments below. This is what the show is. You can listen to it, take it wherever you want. And yeah, it's a good time. So, yeah. So going back to my little Bat Week here. Again, I read part 1 of Death in the Family, part 1 of Hush. I read Vengeance of Bane. And I must say, guys, that um, I kind of understand, and I said this in some of my Batman reviews. I kind of understand why some people are upset about the New 52 or after Flashpoint, whatever the case is, and because I'm reading these stories pre New 52, and a lot of these things just feel right when I read them, and when I see when I read New 52 comics, I still call it New 52 because that's kind of what we all refer it to, after Flashpoint. And I just feel like things are just out of place. I feel like DC just is scrambling to figure out what they need to do in order to become that top comic company. In no shape or form or means are they, you know, poor. I mean, they're still the number two publisher and they sell a lot of comic books. But I just feel like they just don't have a great grasp of where the company needs to go, and like it did before when you came up with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of comic book issues of the same series. You could tell your stories there, and it just feels like 3 years later after New 52, the company has restructured its new comic books, want to create this new DCU for you, and now it seems like people are all over the place. They don't know what to read. They don't get what's going on with Superman, and I don't know what comics to read, and it's kind of frustrating for readers, especially new readers. How can one comic in the Justice League be a Superman that has his powers, another comic that doesn't have his powers, a book that's covered in Superman, Wonder Woman where he doesn't have his powers, and I think it's very frustrating to readers. So when I'm reading these Batman stories, I feel this cohesiveness. And when I read Batman Hush, I was like, wow, this is beautiful. I mean, I'm getting to see a Batman story that actually works. It has his rogues gallery in there. It's got Catwoman. It's got Poison Ivy. It has, you get introduced to Killer Croc. I mean, right from the first issue, the action is all there, and it works. It's beautiful, and I actually loved it. And this is only the first issue. I haven't even really gotten to the meat of the story yet, but it just seemed like it worked. Even Death in the Family in the first part, even though it's an older story. You feel the bond between Batman and Robin, and just I don't know, things that you just haven't seen in a while. I got a couple more comments, and it says Tim Marson says if it was an actual coherent universe, it would be okay, but it's all over the place and it just makes more universes. More Elseworld titles would be fine. Uh, I know he is really Joker-like, but too straight up make him the Joker would be lazy. They had the Red Hood gang in an episode season one. Hope they do something else. Give us a good twist. I agree. Going back to the Gotham talk, I agree with when it comes to that first season of Gotham. They had the Red Hood gang in there, and it was kind of like I just feel like those first episodes, in a way, they kind of didn't know the direction didn't want, so they wanted to throw something in there that was like, okay, let's throw in the Red Hood gang, give something so the watchers to read on what we thought is Red Hood and the gang at the time. I don't know. It's just weird, but I agree. I want them to be a good twist. I don't want his origin story to be right here on the TV show after we've been reading these comics for years and years, and they're just like, okay, here's Joker's origin, and you're like, what? So. But I agree. I want a twist. We all know that he was Red Hood, so I don't know. We'll see what happens in the future there. So again, guys, thanks for the comments. Please keep commenting. Do you feel the same way that I feel about DC right now? Do you feel that the actual universe is it's too independent at this time? It's like we have all our own individual stories, and the universe doesn't seem cohesive. Like, I want to see more characters interact with each other. And that's something that we don't see. And again, that's something we don't see in the Batman books. As good as Batman is, I feel, with Greg Capullo and Scott Snyder, I feel like the series is too just Batman. There's not enough people supporting him. The only time we ever see him being supported was Death of the Family, where you got to see some of the other character Bat characters, and otherwise, besides that, it's been pretty much just Batman. You see Batman You saw him go against the Riddler in Zero Year. You've seen him go against the Joker two times already. Court of the Owls. Would you see Clayface and maybe a two-part story? Have we seen Scarecrow? I don't even remember now. There's just so many characters that we don't even see in the book anymore. Catwoman, she's too busy being in her own book. Harley Quinn's too busy being in her own book. Poison Ivy, I don't remember ever seeing her. So again, there's just so many characters out there that we just haven't seen. They're all busy in other books. Why not be in the Batman book? What makes Batman so good? So again, that's just some of my thoughts going into talking about these Batman books that I read. But definitely out of the stories that I've read so far, Hush is being the best one. Artistically, it was brilliant, and Death in the Family is a good introductory to the issue. It's a little cheesy because there's a lot of coincidences that happen. And I read Vengeance of Bane, which I never knew the origin story of Bane, and I feel that the Bane story was really well done. The narration was beautiful in that, and definitely, if you guys don't know about Bane, I definitely suggest that you go out and pick that one up because it's a great book. All right, so any other comments on that? Please feel free to talk about it, and we'll continue the actual conversation. So. Last week was a really crappy week for some comic books. Again, 6 books altogether. Grayson being one of those best books out there. Death was a let's see, Grim Tales of Terror, or was it Death One Shot? Was a really good book as well by Zenescope Entertainment. If you guys want to check that out too, that was a really nice book to read. It was my actual number one pick of the week. Runaways was my worst pick of the week. And yeah, so real quick, I'm going to get ready to get the comics up for this coming week and we can discuss those. So hold on real tight and I'll get those up for you guys. All right, so here we go. Let's get up Comixology. And all right, so comic books for this week. It doesn't seem like a big week this week. However, be ready next week, guys, because next week starts the juggernaut of comics. And if you guys are frustrated with Secret Wars like I am, I don't think I'm picking up anything that has to do with Secret Wars as long as there's Secret Wars title out, except for the main series, because I am interested to see how that series does end. However, I am super frustrated on how long it's taking for that book to continue and to conclude. So, with that being said, let's talk about this week's comics that are coming out for September 30th, which is today, 2015. I tell you what, man, I think it is ridiculous on how fast the year has gone. I can't believe we're going into October already. Man, it just makes me feel really old. I'm going to be 41 in February, and I'm getting old. All right, and I'm a 41-year-old comic book lover, but that's not a bad thing. All right. So one of the books that is really most popular this week, by far, by a few thousand polls, is Justice League. Issue number 44. This continues the Dark Side War, Dark Side versus Anti-Monitor, Corrupted Superman versus Lex Luthor, and Marina Black versus Grail. I feel that this series has been very solid. However, it just seems so long between issues that you can't really integrate yourself into the story. But it is so. I feel like it's really well written, and I love the artwork in it. But who is reading Dark Side War right now? I'm pretty much guaranteeing that every one of you that listens to this show is reading this series and is looking forward to this actual book right now. So definitely, I'm definitely gonna pick that one up this week. Um, let's see. Tim Marson did comment and he goes, "That price of death killed it for me." Yeah, no pun intended, I'm sure, Tim. I agree with you. That was the downfall of the book. That's why I could not give it a 5 out of 5 stars this week, because not everybody I'm able to get these comics for free. A lot of these digital comics, thanks to our resources over on Comic Frontline, and I'm very grateful for that. But when I reviewed the book, I said it that I couldn't give it a 5 stars because of the price point. I feel like no comic is worth $6, and I didn't buy it either. I had it in my hands at the comic store, and then I looked at the price, and I'm like, $6, that ain't worth it. So if you can afford it, if you're looking for a book to read, and you don't have any other books to read or buy that week or whatever it is, that's where it's worth it to buy. Tim Marson also says the Dark Side War is DC's Secret Wars at the moment. Definitely a must pick up. Yes, that is true, Mr. Marson. Yes, I agree with you. All right, so the next book that is second on the pull list here for people pulling is Superman number 44, and it's not saying much. The Epic Truth arc reaches its finale as the Daily Planet and its staff may be the first casualties of Clark's identity being revealed. Um, the series has been just god awful when it comes to the artwork, and when it comes to this story, when it comes to this whole solar flare thing, just the way his identity was revealed in the villains that he was facing. I just don't enjoy it. I just feel that Superman has so many iconic villains that anything could have been better than what he was facing right now. He's facing that root character or whatever it is, the web guy. I don't even know. I just and the solar flare thing is an excuse for him to just use it at any possible time when it was supposed to be used for emergencies only. So I definitely don't like the direction that Superman has gone. Again, I feel like Superman was looking for this change to where people can relate to him more, and I think that's okay. But when it comes to the character and messing with his powers like this, I just felt like it's not the character we know. Just bring back Superman, the Superman that everybody loves, and tell good stories with him, and just move on. That's all we have to do. Why do we have to do this drastic change to the character like DC is doing with a lot of their flagship characters? However, I am picking it up because I want to see what happens, and I'm sure a lot of other Superman fans do too. Another book that's popular this week, and DC's leading the week here, and that's Aquaman, issue number 44. The relationship of Mara and Arthur is on the rocks. After all, Mara wants Aquaman dead. Now the estranged lovers are about to meet face to face. So Aquaman, excuse me, my phone just went crazy. Aquaman for me is a book that I haven't read. I'm not into it. I never followed the character, so I'm not going to check it out. So if you guys do read Aquaman, let me know how it is. Is there a good jumping on point for me to ever read it? And yeah, so that's that. So again, that book is $3.99. The Batman Annual comes out this week. Issue no, or annual number 4. Again, these annuals are $4.99. It gives you no description on what the book is about. Again, this looks like it may have nothing to do with the current story arc. Might be just a filler issue. This would kind of be almost the second filler issue of Batman, and the last issue we paid $5 for it. This time around, we're paying $5 for it. So let's hope that it tells a good Batman story, but it'll be up to you guys if you decide to spend the $5 on annual or not. All right, next is a book that's popular for a lot of people, and I never read it. And it's the Sandman Overture. It's six number 6 out of 6. It's the final issue of the Eisner Award nominated series. Is a sweep of science, fictionally beauty, and madness. So yeah, so again, this is another 3.99 book. I think Who's a Dark Horse is the one that does publishes this book. Again, never read anything that had to do with Sandman. I don't think it's just my style of book, but it's up there in the list of pickups this week. Another book that is up there is Morning Glories, issue number 48. I read Morning Glories, I think, the first 7 or 8 issues, and ever since then, I never read it. I think it's a good series. Unfortunately, at the time, I didn't have money to continue the series, and I kind of fell off of it, and I never got back on because I felt like I'd be completely lost. So that's the story with that. So Morning Glories, issue number 48. Next, we're going to get X-Men 92, issue number 4. That book is coming out this week. I like the X-Men 92 series. I feel the artwork reminds me of the actual animated series, which I think is kind of cool. And from what I heard, it's continuing after Secret Wars. And I feel that once we get away from Secret Wars, I think this series has the potential of being great, because of the fact that it has those 92 characters. And this is another thing we talked about on Frontline Live. Wouldn't it be cool if they just made a universe of the 90s cartoons from Fox? That would be awesome. So do like a Spider-Man animated series. How badass would that be? That would be a lot of fun. All right. Another book this week from DC Comics that's up there, but has dropped off tremendously compared to the other top books that are being pulled this week, is Green Lantern Annual, issue number 4. Now, I'm not sure how people feel about Hal Jordan and his new long hair and the direction this book is going. Do you guys agree with this book? Do you feel that this is the right direction for Hal Jordan? Do you feel that he needs to go back to the core? Does he need to get the short hair back? Does this ragtag bunch of characters fit in with Hal Jordan? Leave me the comments. Tell me what you guys think of Green Lantern at this particular point. I like it. It's different. I like the spaceship, how it talks back to him. I like how he's this rebel. It changes the character a little bit. However, eventually, do I want my original Hal Jordan back? Yeah, I do. But I also want Kyle Rayner back as well, and I want him back as a Green Lantern Corps member, and just being back in the books. However, with that being said, Sinestro is a fantastic book, and hopefully you guys read Sinestro issue 15 this past week. Had Saint Walker in there, and what he's planning on doing with Saint Walker is unbelievable. But that is a great series. I definitely suggest you guys check out Sinestro. But again, leave me those comments on Green Lantern Annual or Green Lantern in general, what you guys think of the character right now. All right, so let's see. Any other comments right now? Let's see. Got a few comments up here, and let me check up on those. Um, Tim Marson says he's sleeping through the Superman at the moment, so he's kind of thinking that it doesn't really exist right now, putting it on the back burner. Holger Peterson says, because of your reviews, I have read all 3 issues of We Stand on Guard. Really great. Yes, We Stand on Guard is an awesome series. I cannot wait to see how that story develops. Really how the war got started, where these characters are going. They're tortured. The United States torturing people by virtue reality is just amazing. I love all the actual vehicles and military equipment that Brian K. Vaughan thinks of in his head and puts it on the paper. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's a great book. All right, so we got Comics Heaven says hi. And Comic 7 says hello, and I'm saying hi back and hello back. Thank you for watching the show or listening into the podcast. I'm so used to doing videos that it's a little bit awkward for me to do a podcast. Tim Marston says there is a 92 universe coming after the Secret Wars. Yes, there is. It will be interesting to see again where that book is going to go after Secret Wars is over, because I feel that it can still play true to its actual TV series. So, okay, let me see what other questions we have right here. Um, I have um, Smitty609 says, well, they want to be edgy. I never liked Superman, so I don't really care what happens to him. But no, there is a lot of people there that do. And yes, I agree with you. There is, your hardcore Superman fans out there that are definitely, want the character back to the way he was. He went through dramatic change after the New 52, and they didn't like that. And now he's going even more through a change. And I feel like maybe people were starting to accept him the way that he was, in the New 52. And now it's like, okay, well, let's take your Superman away even more, and let's strip him down, and let's give him no powers, and have him hate Lois now instead of loving Lois, and it's just frustrating for a lot of people. And then Schmitty says, and don't think the writers get how you do him right. He is an icon and should be written like one. And I agree with you 100% there. All right, so let's see. Let's go on and see what else we got comics coming out wise this week. Here's a book that I'm skipping. Inferno, issue number 5, Secret Wars tie-in. I don't give a crap about Darkchild's Demon Horde and the Goblin Court and Sinister Boom's clones and all the battle for power. This book has been the same thing over and over and over again. The beginning issue was pretty cool, just like all the other Secret Wars books. They fizzle out at the end. The concepts are great, but the endings are just pointless because it just feels like, okay, well, story's done, throw it away. We're not going to see it again. So I just feel like you get nothing out of it, really. There's been only a few that I felt that the endings were really good, and I've said this before, and I think it was Future Imperfect that I liked. I thought that ending was really well done. And, some people are telling me that Humans and Tillian Rising was a solid ending to the series as well. Here's a good book if you guys want to try it for a jumping on point. It's a revival issue number 33. Now, I read the first, I think, few issues of this, and just like Morning Glories, I kind of jumped off of it because of money issues, because we have so many comics to read, and I it's a good story, but if you don't read it continuously, you're going to be lost. But here they say it's a good jumping on point for readers, and I might read this one digitally to see where it goes if it earns my hard-earned cash. If you're a fan of Captain America White, issue number 2 comes out this week. Bullets, bombs, explosive revelations. Captain America and Bucky are ready to lead the Howling Commandos. But are the Howling Commandos ready to follow? I don't know. We'll find out. You guys got to read issue number 2. Um, Next, we have S.H.I.E.L.D. Issue number 10. I have not been a fan of the S.H.I.E.L.D. series. It's a bunch of one-shots with a bunch of different artists. And there's been a couple of books that I read that were okay. But with this one and Howard the Duck being inside of it, I'm not a fan. All right. So next is Spawn issue 256. I feel that a lot of people have been jumping back on board with Spawn, and they feel that it's going in the right direction. However, for me, when they came out with that big issue, I just couldn't do it. I just could not continue Spawn. The good thing is, readers, for $2.99 you can get this book, and there's not many of these $2.99 books anymore. Next is Archie number 3. We got the Fiona Staples cover. I know a lot of people are starting to read Archie just for the fact that we got Mark Waid on the book and Fiona Staples is doing the interior artwork for right now. However, she is scheduled to be pulled off the book to go back to her duties back in Saga, and we're going to be getting a new artist on it, or if there's not one already. So uh, Archie issue number 3. Next is E is for Extinction. That book was extinct for me since issue number 1. I am definitely not picking up that book. Even the cover alone is just it's like, oh my god, why am I going to even read that book? So definitely not going to read that one. Next is American Vampire, second cycle, number 10. Vampires in space. The war against the beast takes to the vast vacuum of stars, but who is inside the space suits and what they find inside the spaceship must remain to be seen. American Vampire. Yeah, so never read American Vampire. I think who writes it? Scott Snyder. Does he write that series? I never kind of had an interest to read it, but I did hear it was pretty good. So I don't know. I mean, maybe I'll give it a try in the future when I don't have anything to read. The book is $3.99. So we talked about Grayson earlier on today's show, how great issue number 12 was. Now you have the annual number 2. And it says, when Dick comes home to find that the Batman he knew is gone, he seeks out his mentor, Superman, but both friends have changed since they last met. Can they find a common ground to team up? Um, Okay, so is this gonna have to do with him being back in Gotham? Is there gonna be more of a Superman story? I don't know. We'll see. I might give it a try. It is $5. I'm always weary about this. These annuals, and of course, instead of this being like a Batman Superman team up, this is more like a Grayson Superman team up. So we'll see where that one goes. Rachel Rising, issue number 37 is coming out. Hail Hydra, issue number 3 is also out. This continues this whole war against this Venom symbiote and I guess Nomad. I thought that was pretty good. Sex issue number 24 is coming out. I, it's so funny. Like when I was a kid, I never expected, never in my wildest dreams would I ever think that a comic book called Sex would be out on the stands. Just blows my mind where our society has gone these days. All right. Next is Transformers More Than Meets the Eye ongoing. I accidentally got this book next last time it came out, and I don't read this series. And when I got it, I was like, this ain't Transformers. Transformers is the original series, is the series that I read. So I won't be picking up that one. Ghost Racers issue number 4. I am still reading Ghost Racers because I think that book is it was a lot of fun. The first issue was a lot of fun. The second issue, we had a good origin story of Robbie Reyes, and the third issue was a little bit weak for me. So I hope it's not going on a downward trend. But I'm still enjoying this particular series to see where it's going to go. I think the artwork is amazing, and it's been a lot of fun. So we'll see what happens. All right, so here we go. Transformers number 45. This is the series that I read. Jetfire and Cup lead a team to investigate the mysterious Onyx system. And yeah, Jetfire is a cool character. He is one of the more memorable Transformers in my Transformers memory banks, as I got him for Christmas as a Christmas present back in 1980 something. And I remember I opened them and I thought the box was huge, and I'm just like, wow, this is Jetfire, and he was metal and he was kick ass and he was like bigger than all my other Transformers. I mean, he was bigger than Devastator, and Devastator is supposed to be this big thing. That was the one thing that I didn't like about the Transformers toys. They were all disproportionate. Transformer Devastator was not that big, but Jetfire was the biggest of them all. The Dinobots weren't that big, but yet Optimus Prime was like bigger than Grimlock. So it's just funny how those toys were. But I'm definitely checking out Transformers issue number 45. All right, next we have The Spread, issue number 10, Children's Crusade, part 3. I read the first couple issues of Spread. I thought it was good. For a while, I wasn't getting those digital copies, so I kind of fell off of it. Again, I feel like now I might be lost on it. Providence, number 5 of 12. I don't even know what that is. It's a Alan Moore horror event. Off the years continues to push the limits of the comic book medium with an incredible ad-free 40-page fifth issue. Robert Black is discovering a hidden underbelly. Okay, so it sounds pretty interesting. It's 5 of 12, limited series, $5, but you get 40 pages of pure comics. I think that's pretty good. Modoc Assassin, number 5. No. Moving on. They're Not Like Us, issue number 8. I read issue number 1. I felt it was very X-Men like. I never continued it. However, if you guys are looking into this particular story, $2.99 price point, I feel that it's worth the try if you haven't tried it yet. Next is, we're already going into variant covers, Justice League variant cover. S.H.I.E.L.D. 50th anniversary number 1, The Calvary. This has to do with May. Discover the explosive secrets that are hiding in Agent May's past when Agent May leads a team of new recruits on a training mission. Will she be able to save the day when everything goes wrong? Cool ass cover. I gotta tell you, it looks gorgeous. $3.99. And speaking of S.H.I.E.L.D., did you guys watch the season premiere of S.H.I.E.L.D. that was on last night? I was watching it before this show, before I started this podcast, got halfway through it, got to see the whole Inhuman thing that Daisy is doing now. And we get to see this new guy named Joey who's an Inhuman. And it looks pretty cool. And I must say that Agent Coulson's hand is quite weird. It's going to take some time to get used to it. So, and we can see Fitz is on a mission to try to find out what happens to Simmons. So, really cool story that's going on right now in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Hopefully, you guys caught that premiere. I'm going to finish watching it once I get done doing the podcast today. All right, so let's see if I got any more other comments right now. Let's see. There is a 92 universe after Secret Wars. We got that. And we got Holger Peterson says, I don't like Hal Jordan's new look. I hope he goes back to the core. You know what, Holger, when he does, hopefully he does go back to the core. And hopefully we get a Green Lantern core back. After the Lost Army is done and over with, maybe we'll get the core back and maybe Hal Jordan goes back to the where he comes from. So we'll see what happens there. And Smidsy 609 says, and I don't think writers get how you do him right. He's an icon, should be written like one. So we talked about that. Tim Marson dropped Inferno after issue 3. Tim, I agree with you. I feel that that's when I dropped it too, as it just got too repetitive and pointless. It was the same thing over and over. Tim also said, they all had drawn panels on Captain America. Make the book worth it for me for Captain America White. Interesting. That is cool that they had hand drawn panels on there. I think that's awesome. We don't see that type of artwork anymore. Obviously, everything is done on computers. So that's cool. That really makes you appreciate the art. Smidsy says, haha, vampires in space. That sounds crazy. Yeah, that kind of reminds me almost like Sharknado, it's just like sharks in space. If you guys saw Sharknado 3, the sharks actually make it into space and they eat people in space. Smitty609 says, have not seen it yet, but looking forward to it. So obviously he's talking to the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Or to the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. show. All right, so let's see what other books we can talk about. Rasputin, number 9. Don't read that. Won't be picking it up. Grimm Fairy Tales, issue number 1 to 14. It's Zenescope's 10th year. Great series. The series definitely has some meaning, some depth behind the characters. Zenescope is that company that's not all about TNA, guys. They have some really good stories. I definitely recommend you guys checking out some some of Cinescope stuff, like Robin Hood, like Grimm Fairy Tales, like Grims of Terror. They have other books that are coming out shortly. It's a solid company. All right, next is my favorite character ever, or probably one of the longest characters that I followed besides Spider-Man, Savage Dragon issue number 207. New story arc. Malcolm Dragon, Battle Girl, and Rex Dexter. Kind of sounds like a porn name, doesn't it? Rex Dexter. Go into Dimension X to rescue Angel Dragon and bring Mr. Glum to justice. It's a great series, guys. I mean, if you haven't read it, you have no idea what's going to go on, and I don't think you ever will unless you read the trades. Just because of the fact being is that um, it's just one of those things that it's like the book takes place in real time. Characters age in real time, so I think it's a good book. So all right, so next we go on to, let's see, new Suicide Squad annuals, and hold on one second, I got this message that I have to. Sorry, I have to type. It's like I can't do two things at once. Okay. All right. So we continue. New Suicide Squad annual number one. I feel that I've dropped off this series. I have no idea what it's about. Not sure what this annual is really going to be about, but it says the monster storyline concludes in epic fashion when the League Splinter group prepares to unleash a secret weapon deadlier than anyone could have imagined. Okay. You guys reading Suicide Squad? No? Let me know. Drifter number 8. Sons of Devil number 5. From Under the Mountains, issue number 1. Sounds mysterious. Let's see what it's about. In the first issue of this new fantasy series, only feuds and new monsters rise up to haunt the isolated northern fortress of Garsgate. So, let's see. Next we have Crossed, Badlands issue number 86. Bee and Puppy Cat number 7. Postal number 7. I heard that series was pretty good. Let's see what else we have. As I go through the list here. Next we have Rick and Morty. Godzilla in Hell. What brought Godzilla to hell? A glimpse of Godzilla's greatest battle gives clues, but what will happen when Godzilla faces a rematch with the same foe in the underworld? Stray Bullets, Conan, Avenger number 18, The Walking Dead Volume 12 hardcover is coming out. That price is $34.99. You guys know I'm a hardcore Walking Dead fan. If you are too, this might be a good book to add to your collection. Book of Death, Fall of Harbinger, number 1. Doctor Who, for the Doctor Who fans, number 12. Batman Volume 6, which is Graveyard Shift trade paperback, is out. This tells the tales of Batman number 0, 18 through 20, 28, and 34, plus Batman Annual number 2. It says, look back to the early days of the Dark Knight, then see the impact of the death of his son, Damian, plus, and that's all I can read right now. So it's $16.99 for that trade if you guys want to check that out. Batman Arkham Knight Annual issue number 1 is out. And we got some Ghostbusters. Who do you want to call? And let's see. Uncle Scrooge, issue number 6. I had no idea that was out. Gem and the Holograms, Outrageous Annual, issue number 1. And I'm going to take one last glimpse here and see what else we got. Mercury Heat, issue number 4. And True Believers, Unbeatable Squirrel Girl, issue number 1 for $1 if you want to know what Squirrel Girl's about. And let's see, we got Drive, issue number 2. And yeah, guys, I think that's about it when it comes to comics worth mentioning this week. Again, it's a lighter week in the comic book world because we're trying to prepare for what's coming out in October. And I feel that October month is kicking off fall, and there's going to be lots of shit that's going to be coming out when it comes to October. All new Marvel now, some decent DC titles looking like they're going to come out. Yeah, we got that new Batman and Robin Eternal that's coming out. So some really highly anticipated books that are going to be coming out, and it's going to be a battle to see who wins. All right. Next, we see Holger Peterson says the season 3 premiere of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was really good. I am a great fan. And Tim Marston says, totally outrageous. Yes, totally outrageous. That's what Jem says. Truly outrageous. And yeah, so that's it, guys. That is the show for this week. Hopefully, you enjoyed it. We talked about some of my Batman books that I read for the week. We talked about the upcoming books that are coming out. We talked about Gotham. I read you guys' comments. Again, thanks, guys, for watching in. I had a blast this week. It was good to be back. Stay tuned for next week's episode, which I have no idea what we're going to talk about yet. But if you have any topics that you guys want to talk about before I talk about the comic books themselves for the week, which will be a big week next week, please let me know in the comments, and I'll definitely take it into consideration, and we can talk about it together. So, guys, thank you for watching. Viewers that watch this post live, please leave your comments as well. And guys, as always, thank you for watching Comic Book Corner 2.0. And this has been Wednesday Morning Comic Talk. This has been Wednesday Morning Comic Talk, episode number 5. Have a great comic book week, everybody. Take care. See you soon.